welcome back to Instagram for Wednesday.
Welcome, summoners, to Hump Wednesday. One for each member of the team.
For 10 years, League of Legends has been one of the biggest games in the world.
Yeah, the free-to-play MOBA has outlasted almost all its other competitors and spawned a hugely successful esports scene that's watched all over the world.
And in China. To give you an idea of how big League still is, last year's World Championship Finals got more viewers than the Super Bowl.
God, it's growing and growing and growing. I remember going to the Worlds in 2013. Not a big League fan, even though I wanted to be there. I spent most of my time street passing. I gotta get those puzzle pieces, you know.
Is that like blowing strangers for Coke?
Yes.
Oh. Needless to say, its developer Riot Games has raked in all the money in the world over the years, but with all that success, Riot has also been knocked for being a one-game company.
Yes, the memes. I mean, why should they make another game? They're making all the money in the world.
I mean, do one thing and do it right.
But it's all different now, right, Ryan?
All different. They put that criticism to bed yesterday, announcing that they've got a bunch of new games in development, not just one, not just two, not three, but more than three. They got a documentary coming out and an animated series. So they went from one game to like becoming all the games.
They have to actually release them first.
Right, that's the caveat here. It was all timed around the 10-year anniversary of League, and it might have been the biggest content dump we've ever seen from a company other than maybe, what, Valve with the orange box?
Yeah, just in terms of like, here's the thing, and here's the thing, and here's the thing. Nintendo can get close sometimes with their direct, but it's not all from just Nintendo. This is all from Riot, so it's pretty wild. So most of what we saw was obviously set in the League of Legends universe, aka Runeterra! Runeterra, and it's definitely a move by Riot to flesh out the world they've spent more than a decade building and obviously have a ton of people that are really invested in.
It's similar to what Blizzard did with Warcraft, adding spin-off elements like World of Warcraft and later a card game called Hearthstone with all those characters that you know and love.
Yeah.
Goblins.
Sylvanas!
Sure, these there. Or
Yeah.
she. What? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's been hugely profitable. Makes sense that Riot would want to extend its own universe, so let's break down what they announced.
Take it away, Brian.
So first up, they announced a lot of additions to League, the core game, and they're going to give players a bunch of free stuff for logging in over the next 10 days starting tomorrow. You get gyms and I don't know, I assume new clothes, and people won't yell at you for a day if you screw up and feed the opposition.
He wrote the script and he said, I don't know.
You didn't say out of lane! Hold on. It's right.
I'm a fraud.
They're also bringing back the fan favorite Ultra Rapid Fire mode, as well as a new champion Senna, who's a support marksman who's been teased for years.
They're also adding a major new mechanic called the Elemental Rift system.
So this is actually pretty interesting. Previously, killing an Elemental Drake would give your team a buff, like buffing your attack power, something like that. But with the upcoming Rise of the Elements update that launches on November 21st, killing an Elemental Drake will radically alter the map, giving whoever killed it a big new advantage.
It looks really cool. It'll really shake up the meta, it looks like.
Sure, yeah, if there's one thing League needed, it was more complexity in the map.
Updating League of Legends is something that Riot has basically done for 10 years, right? So no big deal.
No, it is a big deal, Adam.
Oh.
There's even more bombs. Yeah, they're not only working on a new game, they announced even more. Several new games, in fact. The most immediate is a card game called Legends of Runeterra that's set in the League universe similar to Hearthstone and World of Warcraft.
Getting on that card game stuff, yeah, it's a collectible card battler, but the designers stress that they won't sell randomized card packs.
Yay!
That is actually a big deal.
That was a clear move to differentiate themselves from Hearthstone, which...
Or every other card game ever made.
So the beta is coming out next year, and a 5-day alpha actually starts today.
A Riot game that's not called League of Legends that you can play right now? Oh my God. Is a rapture happening? Brian, you still there?
I'm excited.
Okay, that actually doesn't prove anything. So then Riot talked about a new fighting game titled Project L. What does the L stand for?
Loser.
There he is. Also has characters from League of Legends, obviously. It's a 2D fighter, but it looks like it's in the very early stages, and Riot said we shouldn't expect anything soon. So at least they're being honest about that. Also, they've been working on that for, I want to say, like 2 years? So Riot doesn't move fast, because they don't need to. Okay, that's a little bit of a grievance that I have with companies that get like so profitable they don't have to make things anymore.
There are a lot of parallels to Blizzard here.
Almost Valve territory, where it's like, you say you make games, but I'm not sure you do.
You start out as a little ice cube, one day you become a big glacier, but then you realize it's hard to move.
Wow, that was really profound.
I slept well. But they weren't done there. Nope, they're also working on a tactical first-person shooter called Project A. It's character-based, but apparently it's not set in the League of Legends universe.
Yeah, but it has like guns and spells. You can scope and then be like, nope, not time for the sniper rifle. Let me bring out my Orb of Mysterium.
So the game was described as being set on a beautiful near-future Earth and has a lethal cast of characters, each with unique abilities that create tactical opportunities for their gunplay to shine.
Looks like it's borrowing elements from both Overwatch for the abilities and Counter-Strike for the gunplay. Just like pap pap and somebody's down. That's about all we know at this point.
Riot's stream also showed what looked like another game. Tell us about that one, Brian.
Yeah, it was only on screen for a few seconds, but it looked like an isometric dungeon crawler. They didn't talk about it, but Riot later described it to Polygon as a project that explores the possibilities of traversing the world of Runeterra with your friends. How nice.
Diablo?
Yeah, it's their Diablo.
Yeah, we have our Hearthstone, we have our Diablo, we have our Overwatch.
Yeah, it's easy to point and say copycat, but let's be honest, when you're in that territory, there's only so many games that are going to be worth your time and have the scope to succeed that you need them to.
I'm also in no way saying Blizzard has done anything original. I mean, Warcraft itself was a ripoff of Games Workshop's Warhammer series because they couldn't get the license. Said, fine, we'll just make our own orc game, and they did it.
Yeah, it's for League of Legends. They have more plans than just that, right? So they're bringing a version of League of Legends called Wild Rift to console and mobile.
Finally.
Yeah.
That's where the hardcore gamers are.
That's where the gamers who are willing to spend $22,000 are. So you gotta go find them.
The numbers keep going up. It looks like the core League game, but with streamlined controls for mobile and console. A beta is actually coming in 2020, and it will be out later that year. The future of 2020.
We're gonna be on our moon bases playing League of Legends on our phones.
I mean, NASA showed off some spacesuits yesterday. It's crazy. They're like, look, you can move your arms up and down now. It's neat. Poor woman was stuck in there. They wouldn't let her talk. She just all smiled.
Wild Rift is interesting. There's some history there, right? There's a reason League of Legends hasn't shown up on mobile yet.
Yeah, and it's a lot of behind-the-scenes corporate drama, which I love talking about. So Riot reportedly balked at making a mobile version of League of Legends in the past, and that was all due to their parent overlord Tencent, which is the Chinese company that bought Riot in 2015. They wanted a mobile version of League of Legends almost immediately. Riot said no, they didn't want to water down the PC game for smartphones. Tencent just decided to do their own thing after that.
They went ahead and made Arena of Valor, which is basically a reskinned League with mobile controls. And would you know it did really, really well.
Yeah, in China, it's known as Honor of Kings and is really popular with more than 200 million players who are forced to like it.
But Riot finally got on board with mobile. Turns out the People's Republic of China gets their way most of the time, and has been working on a mobile version of League for about a year. Not entirely coincidentally, Tencent recently announced they're giving up on Arena of Valor in the West.
Getting back to Riot, they also said that their spin-off Auto Battler, Team Fight Tactics, will be coming to iOS and Android next year too. It'll have some crossplay with PC. That's interesting.
What is an auto battler?
It's like auto chess. You get your team. Yeah, it's their version of auto chess.
Nothing but original ideas flowing out of Riot, huh?
There are no original ideas anymore.
I'm just mad because 9 years ago, I had a really bad League of Legends match. That's not a joke. It was a really bad match. So anyway, they capped off all their announcements with that one more thing, an animated series called Arcane that's coming next year.
It sounds like Blizzard in a lot of ways too, because they announced an Overwatch series.
Turns out it's hard to make a good series out of just a loose collection of characters. You gotta have a narrative.
But Tracer and Soldier are gay.
Isn't that enough?
That's a sitcom just waiting to happen.
So Jalen Brack is pounding the table like, they're gay!
So they have been working on other games all this time. We are the fools. We are being laughed at.
They're not out! They're not out! So the announcements were extensive, to say the least. And we didn't even really cover a new charity they've started, or a documentary on League of Legends is coming to Netflix later this month.
So they're obviously making big strides in building out that League of Legends universe.
Makes sense. League is 10 years old now, and it's still insanely popular. It's been a huge part of a lot of people's lives.
It might not grab all the headlines like Fortnite does, but a lot of people still play the game and love it.
Unless it's bots.
Maybe. League of Legends subreddit seems to be doing pretty well.
They're all bots.
Anyway, earlier this year, Riot said that every day they see about 8 million peak concurrent players in the game, which they claim makes it the biggest PC game in the world. Is that right, Brian?
That's what they say. I think it's pretty close. It's that and Fortnite and a couple others, but if it's not the top, it's definitely one of the top.
League of Legends also helped popularize the free-to-play model on PC. We see a lot of other games following that template right now.
Yeah, but of course, it's got a premium currency that makes a bunch of money. League of Legends made $1.4 billion last year.
But apparently Riot decided that it didn't want to just make a MOBA, which is why we're seeing it branch out like this. Again, I don't consider it a branch out until the game actually comes out, but we'll see, we'll see.
Now, as you recall, the genre itself had its run on top for a long time. It's now settled down to a few big name games.
Yeah, when everybody was jumping in the deep end of the MOBA pool, that was a fun year. EA's announced their, oh Christ.
Is that Smeagol? What's going on?
Yeah, as for Riot, all of these new projects and games are a nice way to change headlines about the company, because a lot of them haven't been great over the last few years.
Yeah, what have those been, Brian?
They have been pretty crappy. Earlier this year, Riot made the news for all the wrong reasons. You might remember in May, more than 200 people walked off the job there protesting the way Riot handled sexual discrimination lawsuits.
Why should you be allowed to sue the company?
Yes, but we're forgetting all that now because we have some new video games. Yeah, also last year, Kotaku did a big expose on the toxic toxic work environment at the League of Legends developer Riot, which there's a lot of fun stuff in there. The report cited numerous allegations of sexism and other bad behavior by management. In the aftermath, some former Riot employees posted about their own bad experiences working at the developer.
Yeah, Riot has since apologized and said it would clean up its act, but it's probably a safe bet that the company is still dealing with the aftermath, including lawsuits from former employees that are still going on. So yeah, it's not surprising Riot would want to get away from all those headlines, and it turns out you got to announce a video game to do it.
As for why it took Riot so long to make another game, Riot co-founder Mark Merrill said that the success of League of Legends gave them the luxury of having plenty of time to explore and work on new things.
It's a funny way to phrase, we're making so much money that we don't have to care. Merrill told The Verge, quote, "In order to deliver and create incredible games, you need the best people, you need the best teams, and you don't do that overnight."
Well, yeah, they certainly haven't rushed into anything. That's like over many nights, decades of nights. How many nights is that?
It's many nights, over thousands.
God.
So yeah, he added that their R&D department explored a lot of different ideas, and obviously most didn't make it to the actual production phase. By the way, that's code for a team of 10 people just got into a room, wrote on a dry erase board, and left at lunch.
It sounds more and more like Blizzard. I'm hearing about this stuff.
It's every company that makes a lot of money. Same thing's happening at Valve. Like 10 people get together, we should make Half-Life 3. And then they do it, and then they have to like start coding and making the thing, and some dude's like, well, it's 3 o'clock and I gotta go pick up my daughter, and it just falls apart.
Merrill went on to say, quote, "It only makes sense to do something if we're confident that we can elevate the experience for players. Riot is only going to do a few big games over time because we want players to know what to expect from Riot in terms of commitment, quality of service, great IP, really high quality gameplay."
Of course, it doesn't hurt your business arrangement when your one game is bringing over $1 billion a year. Pretty easy for people to just hang out in meeting rooms and write stuff on dry erase boards until they come up with a good idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one game is still sticking in my head pretty hard.
We'll have to just see how these new games shake out, but this definitely represents a new day for Riot. They're not just a one-game company anymore.
Still a one-game company. If it's an alpha, fine.
They're telling us, Dad, I want to be something different. I want to spread my wings.
So go get a job! Go get a job! Jesus, help out with the rent!
Well, they're trying to branch out and make new things, and I guess for that, we salute you.
Yeah, it's always a miracle when a game gets announced. It's like getting laid on prom night when it actually releases, so we'll see.
Did anyone here get laid at prom night?
Absolutely not.
Oh, God,
I left early and went home to play PlayStation.
I went to Denny's with my friends.
I spilled
Didn't
Vax
go to
on my
prom,
velvet
didn't have a date.
jacket.
Hollywood lied to me.
Never.
Ladies, hello?
Hold on, I'm deleting some pictures off.
Oh, smart.
It also claimed that managers had something called a hot girl list, which ranks female employees by attractiveness. Totally different from hot girl summer. These are two different things.
I was actually really curious about this one. How do you feel about the hot girl list, Brian?
Hold on, I'm deleting a list